Welcome to another Manor Marketing Music Show. And today, really looking forward to this chat with an old friend. But before I sing your praises, could you introduce yourself and what do you do now?
My name is Sam Graham, and now I'm a director of food and beverage for Media One Hotel in Dubai. And lucky enough to have some great venues here, especially P7, the events arena, where we're throwing huge, dirty drum and bass parties and Afrobeat, hip hop, and in a concrete, dusty old car park. So having a great time with that. But thank you for having me on the show. Great to see you as always.
Thanks,
Looking
Sam.
forward to the conversation.
Cheers, Sam. So just to quickly elaborate before, you've got one venue, P7. You've got two others that have performers or DJs. That's correct. You've got two others?
Yes, got Coco Lounge, which is the pool deck, which is very big space, very famous in Dubai actually. I think you're more familiar with it over the years than I am, which used to be Deck on Eight,
Yeah.
Coco on Eight as well, and the deck. I think it's had some different incarnations over the years, and Garden on Eight, which is the big sports bar venue, the brunches and the live performers there, the guitarists and some bands over the years. So yeah, they're the three main performance venues. Yeah.
Awesome. So we've got performance and DJs in one tent, then you've got a venue, which are just sort of splitting those, which I'll come back to that conversation. So where did it all start? I know you've got to be careful what you say, but we go back a few years from our good home city of London. How did you get
So
into
go on. How did I get into
how
which
did you
bit?
get into all this?
To know, to I think that we're of similar age, and I sort of came through as a youngster in the rave era, the proper one, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I think that I just always fell in love with just the sheer spectacle of the parties and the DJs and the whole scene and just going out dancing all night and this kind of revolution of electronic music and went on from there and I kind of always sort of wanted to be a bartender. So I ended up sort of in London, late night bars, coming up through the ranks, went into management, was lucky enough to run some very big nightclubs in the UK and a lot of nightlife. And I've just really been into throwing parties for people to go to. It's very much that's kind of like a whole career summarized in two lines, but that's kind of where it comes from. Yeah.
Pasha?
Pacha London, yeah, for nearly 3 years. Had a lot of fun in there, and what I mean by that is I don't think there's anything that the human race could do that would surprise me now after running that place. But big events in there, Head Candy, Pure Pasha, Kinky Malinky, stuff like this. They're great memories.
Anywhere else?
So 360 in Dubai, that came out here, and that was a very famous venue that was really, I suppose, brought dance music to the UAE. So we had some great stuff there with DJs like Louis Vega, Frankie Rosado, Riva Starr, Joey Negro, just to name a few. So we did a lot of good stuff there. Back in the UK, I had my own little nightclub for a while called the Pod, where we were very musically driven there. We opened a record label, started a DJ school, got Pioneer certification for our sound system, which was way too powerful for the size room it was in. But we made a lot of noise there, which that was a brilliant sort of 4 or 5 years.
So in essence, I've just sort of tried to just get to you're pretty experienced with the artist side, um, performers, promoters. You've got a little bit of experience
Yeah.
over the years. I would like to, that's good. Okay, so
Yes, we,
let's
we
go
we
back to
can say
the
yes. Yeah.
yes, let's go back to the DJs and the performers. So you've got a couple of venues. So we're talking obviously regional, but I just wanted to get you on because if there's anyone better to know this and to give some advice to aspiring musicians, DJs, performers, I wanted to get your take from a management side, venue, I was going to say owner, but not per se owner, but someone that makes the decisions for that. So when evaluating potential acts or DJs, what are the key things that you look for? And I know I touched base with you when I came to see you, but just in general, so someone, what are you looking for when you have a space available on the DJ performing side of things?
For DJs, I mean, I think that a venue itself needs to understand what it is, needs to understand the direction that it wants to go in, and needs to look for DJs that will fit that. What do I look for? When a very wise man that we both know, actually, uh, Lee Whittle, Soul Shakers. Remember Lee?
Yeah.
Lee told me something. Lee, for the audience, Lee worked with me at the pod as a promotions manager and helped us develop this record label and the DJ school. And he said something to me that's always stuck with me, which was anyone can learn how to mix, but not everyone can learn how to DJ. So, and I was said to him, what do you mean by that? And he was like, well, it's all about track selection and it's all about making sure that you do connect with the audience. So I think that when I speak to DJs, when I look at who I'm talking to, it's whether or not I get a sense that they're going to turn up and want to connect with the crowd that have come in, or whether they're going to turn up and it's all about them and all they want to do is play their favorite songs and then sort of go down that road. Because I think really, as you know, DJing, promoting, putting nights on, sometimes it looks easy, but it's a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult for promoters to be able to actually tell you how many people are going to come. And I think that when when I mean I've seen so many nights, ones that have worked really, really well, ones that have failed miserably. And and I think that what I look for with DJs is are you going to try and connect with the people that are here? And that's something that I need to sort of hear from them, tell them, and feel from them, that they understand that their role is to, as again, I can't repeat this enough, is to connect with the people that are actually in the venue and not just think they're here to take everyone on their own personal musical journey, you know. What I
So
what I would add to that, sorry, just to add a caveat, because only only the headliners, I always think, have the luxury of making that decision because that's who they've come to see.
fascinating. So the one
Yeah.
step beforehand, so that's when you're, I suppose, interviewing or having a chat with a potential DJ that is talking a good game to you. But before that, what does an ideal pitch look like to you? Like, should they be emailing you? Should they be coming to you? Or what makes you, what can artists do to stand out to like you as a decision maker for you to suddenly take notice?
Come down to the venue and put something in my hand. you know that and that's because now what you have in the business is everyone's going through agencies, and Dubai is full of hotels, and people reach out to agencies, and an agency will send 6 or 8 different, briefs, will have links to SoundClouds and stuff like this on. Um, you know, I don't know who listens to them, who doesn't. It's sometimes people will just box tick the DJ and say, I need a DJ, I trust this agency, I'll believe whatever they say. I think one thing I can definitely say is that it's always surprising to me how many managers and so-called decision makers, as you say, actually know very little about DJing and what DJs are supposed to do. The decisions they're making is I need to put a brunch on, or I need to do an activation, or I need to do an evening. And so they'll go, well, we need to have a DJ, so they'll just get one. So for me, what I'd really like to have, especially in the places I have now, is that, someone just comes up to me and says, "Look, I've seen these venues. I think they're great. I know what you're doing, and I think I should play here." And then give me a USB or a CD. I mean, I know these things are pretty old school now, or just give me their card and say, "You need to check out my SoundCloud because I'd be perfect." That would stick in my head, and that would make me go and have a look. Because I probably think you know, cheeky person, but I'd definitely go and do it because I'd enjoy it. I'd like it.
Awesome. So then, how important is their brand when they're doing that? So you go and check them out. Do they need to have a website? Do they need to have an EPK? Do they need it to look all pretty, bells and whistles?
I think it needs to represent them and what they stand for musically, this is my own personal opinion, you know what I mean? Like I like people to come across as being very real. um I think that if someone turns up and says that they're this type of DJ, yeah, I think DJing now is it's a proper career. You can make millions of dirhams, pounds, dollars, etc., being a DJ. I think that times have changed massively since when I was at Pacha, which was about 1,500 capacity. You've got DJs now that filling football stadiums, which you never thought was possible, sort of maybe 15, 20 years ago. So I do think that the entire industry now is about a DJ becoming a superstar DJ. So yeah, I think that they do need to, whether it's polished, neat, and tidy, is whether that's who they are as an individual. If they're a grime DJ or a hip hop DJ and they want to come across as a bit more authentic or underground or anything like that, their brand just needs to represent that.
Awesome. How much then does a social media following and engagement matter to you in your decision making?
It's a very interesting question because DJs are supposed to have people that will come and see them play, on any scale, on any bill that they'll be on the flyer or the night. They're always expected to bring a number of people, and obviously the higher up the billing they go, the more people are supposed to show up. I think social media, although is not a big thing for me personally, I do think is obviously a massive thing now. Um, so yeah, I think that they are promoting themselves in their own nights, and I think that promoters themselves will care deeply about their social media reach and their following. Course, I think that their followers need to be genuine, and real. You know what I mean? Because again, I am the type of person that if someone sits me down and says that they've got 50,000 followers on Instagram and they give me their account, you can actually, go down a few bits on some of their followers, and suddenly, on some people's accounts, genuinely, the names start disappearing, and you end up with 00088 dot dot dot. You realize that some of these accounts are not genuine. So I think that it's important that a DJ presents themselves as real, especially if they're gonna say the kiss of death statement, which is, if you employ me, the place will be full, you know. so
Bold
so
statement.
it's a bold statement, and I've heard it said a lot of times, But I do think, yeah, I do think their brand, their reach, their social media, I think all of it's very, very important these days because it all forms one picture.
Yeah, and do you think that is it down to the artist, the DJ or performer? Is it their job to promote and get people down there? Say if it was a brunch and they're getting a gig and they've got a residency, I would struggle to get your mates down every week to you're there for a different reason than a club night. Would that sound about right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I'll tell you why I'd agree with that because people that want to be professional DJs, it's the same with any performance-based career, which is, you know, I suppose a good sort of cliched statement is you got to do your time, you know. So all A-list Hollywood actors have all made adverts, do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So you gotta keep your career going and pay your bills. So I think that if you're going to get brunch gigs and stuff like that in Dubai, the most important thing is that you do engage into what the, as I said earlier on, you do connect with who's actually there, even though you might be being asked to play a lot of music that you'd rather not, you know, until you break through in your own specialized field. Um, So I think that again, look, I think it's about who you are as a person and your integrity. If you wanna if you're expected to promote the brunch through your channels, but you would rather not because you're trying to establish yourself as a more genre-based DJ and break into the club scene, it's just for you to be very honest about, you know. If you want to play anything and everything, and you're an open format DJ, then go ahead and promote what you want. Would do I expect my brunch DJs to bring their friends every week? No, I don't. Definitely based on what you've just said, because you might get them down a couple of times, but I don't put pressure on brunch DJs to bring in vast amounts of people. That's actually up to the venue.
Awesome. Okay, so now we've spoken about um, the performing and musicians. Now, I'm a big believer in my limited, I say limited, I've been promoting for years, for not so many, but if you can't get gigs and you've got some friends, go and put your own night on. So let's talk about P7 as, because I know that you
Okay.
don't book the artists, you book the brands. Agree?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
In essence,
Yes. Yeah.
so in essence, they're brands,
Yes. Yes.
not individual. I want to get
Yes.
the
Because
residency.
yeah, because it's not a small place.
Yeah.
We don't just open every weekend, see what happens. Everything is a specialized night. So yeah, we're booking the brands and the nights.
Okay. So if I was, would you be open, or think about all the other venues that you've had? Are venues empty during the week?
Oh yeah, yeah, the big ones. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if I
So
came to
100%.
you and said, I've got 150 friends, would you be open to letting people, whether it's this venue or any other venues of that you've, is it a common thing to say, well, actually, my venue's quiet. Someone's going to bring 100 people. Is that a good? You're open to that idea?
Yes, I'm open. Yeah, I am. I'm open to these ideas because we don't do much during the week. Um, the 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 thing that I want though is I need to get my costs covered. So that's where DJ will come to me and say, I can only bring 150 people. I would try and say, well, these are the costs involved on that night, which will be greatly reduced because you can only bring 150 people. So I'm going to go with the 1,000 people setup where it's, you know, eight doormen and six bartenders. It'd be nothing like that. It'd be greatly reduced because one, I like to continually do stuff, especially in P7. So it keeps the venue ticking over and the people involved in that and the you know the people running the social media account. I'm also, as you know, because we've spoken about this, the venue itself. I'm very much into trying to use it to let people break through into that more underground scene and get those kind of dark, smoky parties on the go again, you know, and sort of let the beach clubs do their thing. I love those places. I do go to them quite a lot, but you know, I'm very open to P7 being used on quiet nights. I don't necessarily come with the attitude of I need to make tons of money. I'd like to cover my costs, but if I think it works for the venue and it can attract a greater audience, I'm always going to help. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So now I just wanted to some simple. I know there's no one size fits all, but DJing and performing one-offs, because this is part of the Profitable Musician Launchpad that we've created. It's all about making revenue and different streams and getting
Hmm.
knowledge to people on how to become profitable as a musician. what would be a reasonable fee for DJs to get or performers to get? Um, you don't have to tell me specific artists, but what's can you divulge what out venues pay for a gig?
On on what kind of level entry?
Yeah, getting a DJ gig at Decone or Coco, sorry.
Um, yeah, I think that
You pay the difference
so.
between residency and one-offs. I understand that because residency is
Yeah, I
usually
mean, it's. Do you know what it is? Is that it's not that I don't really want to divulge prices. It's just more based around. It's based around. So you do a brunch, for instance. We're always hovering somewhere between 1,200 or 1,800 per gig, based on some of the factors we've actually covered in this conversation. Who is the DJ? Do you know what I mean? Like, do they have following? Are they going to bring people? What does the DJ actually say when they turn up? We'll give them a little. We always give the DJs an opportunity to sort of audition. We'll set the decks up and they'll come and play for about 20 minutes. Um, because that's another very important thing to actually make sure they can do it. Um,
does help.
um, you know, if it's going to be a one-off and you're throwing a bit more of an event maybe in Coco's, then you can get anywhere between two and three. Do you know what I mean?
Like Durham,
Be,
we're talking
but
about.
then, but dirhams, yeah, dirhams. Because the thing is, you'll be looking for something more established. You know, you're going to be playing to a greater audience, so you'll want somebody that's got a lot more experience in that.
Awesome. And when it comes to the venues, you mentioned it earlier, that's more of a bar spend and you take a door split. How just a rough model that does work for those who don't know, if they're thinking about that they've got a lot of friends and they could go to a venue, not just yours, anywhere, and think about go to them and say, oh, on a Monday night, I see your venue's quiet. I've got 100 friends. What's a standard or a good or the norm that venues will come to them with
Well,
financially?
I think that if the venue's smart, which a lot of them are, which is it'll be a cut of the door and a cut of the bar, because as a venue, you don't want to just say to promoters or DJs, "I'll give you the door," because then the guys are not going to care if they drink or not, you know. And you can't just say, "I keep the door, you take the floor," because then the DJ's not going to go after that at all because you can't guarantee that people will drink. So a good deal, and it actually to do the door and the bar splits together, I think is always a very good deal because it keeps everybody incentivized to get both sides of it done together. Because one thing I will say is that the managers and the DJs and promoters, it's like it's a marriage, you know, it's a partnership where everyone's got to do their bit. The management have to make sure that everything works, the staff are on point, the DJs have got to connect with the audience, the promoters have got to bring the people. And as you know, through doing it for a very long time, that's not always the case. And and when one of those entities does not give it 100%, you can really feel it, you know, on the night, you know.
That's good to hear because I can rest assured doing parties in Dubai that those deals, and there was plenty of word on the street that the it was not favorable, or it just it was a bit lopsided by doing the present just bar and door splits, and those original bar splits were really high, you know, the base layer.
Mm.
So yeah, that's really cool to hear. So lastly, because I'm really conscious of your time, is what advice would you give up and coming DJs and artists to that want to play at venues like yours? What 3 tips could you share?
I think, you know, I think the best thing is, as I've said, number one tip, can't say it enough, connect with the people that are in the venue, you know? It's and I speak from, you know, I'd say 20 odd years of experience. And the reason I say that is that sometimes nights don't work as well as everyone thinks. And from the about an hour into the party, it's clear that the people that have put the money in are gonna could lose money, you know, and it can negatively affect people's moods, you know what I mean? Right? But so the point is that even if there's not a lot of people on the dance floor, the thing that a DJ needs to understand is whoever's out there turned up, and they turned up spending their money with the best intentions, you know? So it's not, your job to be demoralized about the fact that there might be only 100 people instead of 1,000. Connect with them and make them walk out of there going, there wasn't a lot of people there, but that DJ was great, That would be my number one piece of advice. And the second thing I would say is use technology to its fullest. People like us, Toby, with my no hair and your grey hair, we remember vinyl, which for the youngsters listening, that's records. No, but I'm just kidding. We remember vinyl when all there was two decks and a mixer. And the thing is now is that, you know, it's so easy to have programs that can mix on your behalf, like Tractor, and I don't even know what they use these days. But because these things can mix for you, effects units, multiple decks, plugins, everything. I always get very, very impressed. So one thing I would say, we had Andy C, drum and bass DJ, play here last year. He had four CDJ 3000s and was using three of them at the same time. And maybe a lot of your guys are sitting there going, yeah, of course, everyone does it. I don't know, but I certainly didn't. And his warm-up act was Jaguar Skills, who's probably the most creative DJ I've ever seen. And just to watch these guys with all the kit, I was like, it's amazing. So for me, it would be just to use the technology to its fullest and remix, sample, perform, everything. Like all of the effects, the whole thing. It's a whole performance now. So go for it.
Stand out, be different, be unique.
Stand out. There you go. Sorry, there you go. You just said my entire paragraph in 2 words. So stand out. Yeah, be unique.
And you're open for people to pitch you, correct?
Yeah, so after this, I'm sure, people are just going to come and say, Sam, I want to play your P7 here, hold your hand out. But yeah, of course. Yeah, listen, I'm always genuinely open, this, to push this industry forward, to keep it, in its roots, to keep having as many people just going out, having a good time, stop staring at your phones all day or being on your laptops and, get out to a club or a bar and just enjoy yourselves, and anything that I can do to push and help DJs move forwards or any performers, I'll always do it if I can. So yeah, come and pitch me, 100%.
And on that note, Sam, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.